for record. Okay. I think, yeah, now the recording is going on. Okay, thank you. So, for this today's session, okay, respiratory viruses. I think most of you know that the whole world is now under the pandemic of corona. This also comes under respiratory virus. So, before going to this topic, let us see, okay, the main objective today, okay, because this lecture is having two sessions, respiratory virus 1 and respiratory virus 2. So now we will talk about influenza virus, which is having a continuous pandemics every 10 or 12 years. Okay, then rhinovirus, which is a commonest virus causing common cold. Okay, then in the next session we will see the coronavirus, because questions for your exam can be from these core objectives. Okay, right. Now, coming to these viruses, what are these viruses? I think this is a busy slide, but I have highlighted the things in arrows. Okay. So here is one arrow, rhinovirus. This is coronavirus here. And this one is called as the orthomyxoviruses, where the influenza viruses is located. Okay. So my dear students, don't get confused in this busy slide, because this is a classification given in all the books. But what you have to do is, you have to read whether the virus is a RNA virus or a DNA virus, because your MCQ question can be from this. Okay. Never bother about the positive single-stranded or negative single-stranded. That is too much for you. But to begin with your MBBS thing, you concentrate on whether the virus is a DNA virus or an RNA virus. Okay. So now, coming to the DNA virus, how to remember? Okay, there I already told you repeatedly, there is a mnemonic called HAPPY, H. In the H, you have two H, that is herpes and hepatitis B, that is hepatitis B. Okay, then A stands for adeno. Okay, P, there are three P's: papilloma, polyoma, pox, and parvo. Even 4 P's are there. Okay. Why? That is to remember happy. If you remember happy, you can remember DNA viruses. Are you clear? Are you clear?
Clear.
Yes,
Doctor.
fantastic. Because my aim of lecture is not to read the slides. Okay. To make you to understand and avoid any fear. Okay. For your exam. Okay. Now, since we are dealing with the respiratory virus, I am not going to concentrate on the above viruses now. Let us go here. First virus is influenza virus. Can anybody tell me where the influenza viruses are located here?
RNA.
RNA virus, example. In RNA, which one in the arrow?
Enveloped. The orthomyxovirus.
Fantastic. So influenza viruses are orthomyxoviruses, and it's a RNA viruses. Fantastic. So that is how you should read. Coming to the influenza virus, you already know, said it is an RNA virus. For people who want to get more mark, I will say, what is this minus means? My dear students, this minus means these viruses in replication. I'm going to this slide, replication slide. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. Can everybody see this replication slide properly?
Yes.
Yes. Now I will take you simply here. Can everybody see my laser point?
Yes.
Yes. What is meant by plus ssRNA or minus ssRNA means this is called viral RNA. Okay. This viral RNA by itself will act as the messenger RNA. That is called as positive sense. But here, this viral RNA cannot serve as a messenger RNA. That's why a messenger RNA is separately formed and it acts as a messenger for further nucleotide synthesis. Can everybody understood? What is meant
Yes,
by
sir.
yes? What is meant by positive single-stranded RNA means the viral RNA by itself, it's a messenger RNA. But here, the influenza virus is a negative single-stranded RNA. So that's why from viral RNA, mRNA is formed and then it goes to the, what is mean by ER? Can anybody tell me? What is mean by ER?
Endoplasmic reticulum.
Fantastic. Endoplasmic reticulum is the protein factory inside the host cell. So everybody know virus will multiply only inside the cell. It is an obligate intracellular parasite. So when it enters, the whole thing will happen. So from the viral RNA, messenger RNA is formed. What is this process? Can anybody tell me? From the RNA, mRNA is formed. Can anybody tell me what is
Translation.
it is called?
Transcription.
Transcription. Okay, it is called transcription. From the mRNA, protein are formed. This is translation. Okay, everybody understood now? I think you are now master in replication cycle. I will come to this again. Okay, now going to the first part, because I want everybody to read the slides without any difficulty. Okay, this means, do you understand the meaning of this now, my dear
Yeah.
students? Yes, fantastic. Now, getting into the genome, okay? This is a single-stranded RNA virus with a segmented genome, but nothing to worry about the genome. Now, you concentrate on the outer surface. It has got red color and blue color like this. What are all they? They are heme agglutinin and neuraminidase. My dear students, please pronounce it and see in your home. Heme agglutinin and neuraminidase. H and N. That's why whenever you write influenza, you write it as like this. I will show you here. Can you see H1N1, H2N2, H3N2 like this? Can you see here?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, that means heme agglutinin and neuraminidase. This means that one. Okay. Now going to that heme agglutinin and neuraminidase. Okay. So this is on the outer surface of the virus, which plays a very important role in getting into the host cell and coming out of the host cell. Okay. We will go one by one. Everybody understood this? Okay. Right.
Okay.
Right. Next thing. So how many H are there? How many N are there like that? So basically, the influenza virus, there are three, A, B, C. So it is divided into three types of serotypes, A, B, C. You need not worry about all these internal structures. This is for completion sake we are giving. But remember, my dear students, A, B, C are the three serotypes in influenza virus. Then going into the specific one, for example, if there is a pandemic, okay, or an epidemic, how will they classify? Okay, so in that there are 16 types of H. H stands for what? H stands for
Hemagglutinin.
fantastic. There are 16 types of hemagglutinin present all over the world, not only in human, but also in the ducks, but also in the poultry, but also in the pigs. But H1, H2, H3 are having human diseases. And out of the 9 serotypes in N, N1 and N2 causes human disease. Okay, whenever in MCQ they are asking, please remember these three numbers in H and 2 numbers in N. Okay, now I already told you the hemagglutinin is very, very important for attachment with the cell receptor. So obviously the antibodies which are directed against this H will protect us. So that's why it is the target for neutralizing antibody and vaccine production. Everybody understood?
Again, doctor.
I told you hemagglutinin is the spike. Can you see here, my dear students, hemagglutinin, yellow color? Can you see?
Yes.
So this hemagglutinin is responsible for the attachment with the host cell. Okay. So to prevent it, only if the virus attaches, it can goes inside the cell. Is it not? Is it not?
Yes.
It
Yes.
is.
So when we have antibody preventing this hemagglutinin from getting attached to the host cell, we can protect the human being. Is it not?
Yes.
Yes. That's why vaccines are produced against this hemagglutinin. Everybody agree?
Okay.
Now you understood?
Okay.
Ziad, are you able to?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
I
fantastic.
got them.
Right. Now, neuraminidase. Soon after the virus enters the cell, for example, here, you see the virus has entered into the cell. Okay. So, new viruses multiplies inside the cell. Can you see the virus coming out of the cell? Can you
Yeah.
see here? Yes. It enters the cell like this. It goes inside. Viral RNA, mRNA is formed. Endoplasmic reticulum synthesizes the protein and the virus enters out, leaves the cell. For leaving the cell out, it has to secrete some substances which lyse the neuraminic acid here. That's why the name is called as neuraminidase. Everybody understood? Everybody understood?
Yes. Okay, Doctor.
Yes?
Hemagglutinin for attachment and neuraminidase for body and getting out from the cell.
Fantastic. Nicely understood. Very good. People from Chakra, please feel free to interact with them with me. I'm also taking lecture for you, so you can have your doubts anytime, not even now. If you have doubts in the evening, you can message me by Telegram or anything, because my dear students, virology is difficult if you don't understand. Okay. So please read with understanding, otherwise you cannot write in exam. Okay. Right. Now you understood. Now, as Ziad told me correctly, the neuraminidase, ASE, anything ending with ASE means enzyme. Okay. The neuraminidase is the enzymatic action in the influenza virus, which will cleave, which will destroy the neuraminic acid in the infected cell, and it will lead to the budding of the virus outside the cell. And also, it also cleaves the mucin. You know, mucus layer is there in the respiratory tract, my dear students. Mucin. You know what is mucin in the
Yes.
respiratory tract? Yes. So the neuraminidase in the virus, it will destroy the mucin and helps the virus to go and attach with the host cell by hemagglutinin. Now everybody understood now the concept of hemagglutinin and neuraminidase? Everybody understood?
Yes.
Fantastic. Nice. Now, coming, I told you there are three viruses, influenza. A, B, C. Most of the pandemic and the epidemic are caused only by A. This is an important MCQ question, my dear students. Influenza A virus is the virus which affects the human beings as well as the animal. But in case of epidemic and pandemic, this is the important virus which is ruling this world. Can you see here, my dear students, how many epidemics and pandemics it has caused? Can you see here? About 40 to 100 million death in 1918 during the World War. Okay, soon after the World War was over, the influenza killed a lot of people. And during 1957 to 58, you see 2 million people have died. And
This is Spanish influenza.
yes, influenza A. Influenza A virus causing all this pandemic, because I will tell you what is the reason later on. Okay. So influenza virus has killed a lot of people. I have marked here H1N. What is the strain? H1N1, H2N2, H3N2, like that. Okay. So this virus is continuously causing lot of damage to our human beings because of one reason I will tell you. Okay. Then Is the influenza virus present only in human being? No. Influenza virus is also present among aquatic birds, pigs, chicken, horse. That's why you have to closely monitor the poultry farms which are present for this pandemic. Okay, from there it may come. So all the poultry from where the chicken has been given to us for eating, for edible purpose, they have to be closely monitoring because birds are the important reservoirs for this influenza A. Everybody agreed? Is there any doubt?
Yes. No,
Fantastic.
no.
Okay, now I told you it is causing epidemics and pandemics. What is the reason? There are two important processes for that. One is called as antigenic shift, antigenic drift. My dear students, this is a very important concept. Please be with me. Your questions for exams will be based on this. Okay, there are two important processes, antigenic shift and antigenic drift. Please see the spelling. Okay, rest of the influenza viruses, it's not that much important. Okay, few outbreaks have come, but not that much. Okay, now going to the antigenic shift and antigenic drift. I already told you the surface of the virus has got hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. I already told you. So imagine the green color, pink color or purple color, yellow color. These are all the different types of strains which are present in the environment. So this virus is well known to acquire some property from this virus, some property from this virus, and some property from this virus and emerge like this. Are you clear?
Yes,
Are you clear? Yes. This is called as antigenic shift. When this new virus attacks the human being, every human being will be affected because no human being will produce antibody against this type of virus. Everybody understood?
yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to antigenic drift. Here is the purple color. Here is the purple color. What is the difference between these two? Can anybody tell me?
Cut in half.
Mutation.
That is called a simple point mutation. Point. You see the whole circle here only half. Can you see here?
Yeah,
The aim of the diagram is to say that these two viruses are closely related, but there is some mutation. Here, the antibody will save us to some extent by vaccine. Okay, but here, vaccination, we have to develop new vaccine against this virus separately. Otherwise, there is no protection. Everybody understood what is meant by antigenic shift and antigenic drift? Any doubts from the crowd? Please answer me. Okay. Any doubts? Can I repeat or you want to go to the next slide?
go, Doctor, go.
Fantastic. So antigenic shift and antigenic drift are the two important phenomenon which makes the virus to cause all this pandemic. Okay. So it will be a mix of all the things. Okay. Right. Now, all these diagrams, whatever you read from this is already told to you. So you just go read the slide properly and come back if you have doubts. There is another word called as genetic reassortment. I already told you, my dear students, antigenic shift and antigenic drift. What is meant by genetic reassortment is, everybody understood this diagram?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. Imagine this virus is coming from hen, poultry. This virus is coming from pigs. This virus is coming from human. So all these viruses will share some genetic component and produce a new virus like this. This is called as genetic reassortment. Okay. Genetic reassortment means exchange of the genetic material between the viruses inside a host cell. For example, I told you, you see, can you see what is this?
Yeah, duck and
Duck, this is a bird, this is a hen. So the virus will travel from here, 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 here. When it reaches the pig, this also comes here. So the pig will have a new virus. This is called as reassortment. Everybody understood?
Yes.
Yes. So genetic reassortment means exchange of the genetic material between viruses inside a host. So that is the basics for this virus to come again and again. Even if you produce vaccine, the new virus will not be controlled by the new vaccine. Okay, right. So again, this slide clearly explains you how the genetic reassortment takes place, how it has caused the pandemic. Spanish flu came exactly 100 years before. Now again, corona has come. All this is because these respiratory viruses are known for all this antigenic drift and shift. Okay, right. Now, the same diagram I can tell you, because for your better understanding, I have made this. You can go through this one. Okay, right. Now I have already mentioned the influenza viruses has caused a lot of pandemics. Every 10 to 20 years or 30 years, it will come like this. Okay. Everybody understood this diagram, my dear students? Do you want any explanation? I have already told. Anybody having anything to be cleared in this? This is the explanation and this is the diagram. Are you able to understand this?
yes, doctor.
Okay, fantastic. If you want me to repeat, I will repeat. Okay, right. Okay, coming to the transmission. Okay, so when the virus has to be transmitted from one person to another person, not only from the respiratory droplet, can you see how much of droplet he is producing when sneezing? So sneezing is very dangerous. When the patient who harbors the virus sneezes, he will be producing millions of droplets, which are very, very minimal to infect easily. And for example, he is opening the door. So the door handle is the commonest area to get contaminated. And some of the common touch areas like desktops, cursors, iPads, and lift switches, they are the most high touch areas which can get infected. So the virus can be there persisting for 2 to 8 hours. That's why we perform hand hygiene with alcohol based hand rub. So it is a highly contagious disease which spreads from one person to another person. Coming to, I already told you, the neuraminic acid layer degrades the protective mucin layer and allows the virus to get into the system, host cell. And the respiratory tract is the commonest area where the virus gets multiplied. From there, it may rarely go to the other system, but it is confined to the respiratory system predominantly. Now, when a patient gets influenza, these are all the symptoms which can come, just like fever or myalgia, tiredness, body ache, sore throat, cough. Okay, so these are all the commonest symptoms which a patient may develop. But imagine there are 50% of the people who do not have any symptom but are still able to spread the disease. Please, my dear students, that's why in corona, even if you don't have the symptom, you may have the tendency to spread. That's why travel restrictions are there for all these diseases, and PCR has been used for detecting these diseases. Everybody understood?
Yes, doctor.
Anything? Yes, fantastic, nice. Okay, so I have made a simple difference, but this will not be asked more in your exam, don't worry. To have a difference between what is meant by common cold and what is meant by influenza, here what you need to concentrate here is, you see here pneumonia. Can you here see pneumonia? Okay, so the pneumonia is an important complication for influenza, and the patient will die of respiratory failure. So why we need to treat influenza properly and take necessary precaution is, we need to treat this disease. How to treat the disease? Can anybody tell me? Influenza. How to treat? Any guess? I think my voice.
The immune system.
Okay, immune system. How to treat? How to treat? This diagram gives you a clue. How to treat? Anybody? How to treat this disease?
Enzyme inhibitor.
Which inhibitor you are telling?
Like the neuroamidase and any drug that inhibits neuroamidase.
I think this is Ziad. Huh?
Yeah.
Fantastic guess. Very good. There are certain drugs, Ziad, as you exactly told, which can prevent. One is, as Ziad told, neuroamidase inhibitor, but neuroamidase inhibitor are at the last. But here, can you see this process? Okay. The viral RNA gets transformed into mRNA and the mRNA translates protein. This
So we need to inhibit mRNA.
Yes, exactly. These mRNA inhibitors, these transcriptional inhibitors are there. They are called as oseltamivir. There are certain drugs which will be taken by pharmacology. Okay, oseltamivir, zanamivir. There are certain drugs like that. When antivirals, which will inhibit this process, will inhibit the viral replication. Okay, so exactly as Ziad told, some of the inhibitors can treat influenza. Okay, right. Now we have certain drugs, but instead of treating a patient, we can prevent the disease from getting transmitted from one patient to another patient. Okay, right. Now I told you complication is pneumonia. Okay. Next thing, my dear students, this is a rare syndrome, but it can be asked in MCQ. Reye syndrome. For example, if a child or a younger chap between 2 to 16 years of age has got this fever, but in fever, please avoid aspirin. Can you see here? Salicylates. Can you read here? Salicylates. You know they had a molecule called aspirin. You know?
Yeah.
Yes. Please avoid aspirin to be prescribed for fever in children and young people, because due to unknown reason, when you give aspirin, the patient may go for encephalopathy. Can anybody say me what is meant by encephalopathy? What is meant by encephalopathy? Can anybody say me what is meant by encephalopathy? Do you know brain? Brain matter. You know brain matter?
Yes.
Yes. Whenever there is an involvement of brain tissue and the brain tissue goes for an insult, it is called encephalopathy, and the patient will go to unconsciousness. So the patient will come to you with fever and you prescribe aspirin, the patient will go to unconsciousness. This is called as Reye syndrome. This is a complication of influenza A, B, varicella. Varicella, you know, chicken pox, my dear students. Chicken pox, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. When the patient has got chicken pox, please avoid aspirin. Please avoid aspirin because he may go for a rare complication, but if this complication comes, it's very difficult to revive the patient. So that's why they have included Reye syndrome in influenza. Everybody understood? Everybody Yes, fantastic. Now coming to the lab diagnosis, you know, now this is basically a respiratory tract infection. Okay, so you take either, now you know for corona, all the swabs are being done. No, it's called nasopharyngeal swabs. Okay, and all the secretions from respiratory tracts. It can be either sputum. Why we have put sputum at the last means, my dear students, please don't use this as the main one. You go for either nasopharyngeal swab because viruses will be sticking to the mucosa. It will not be present more in the sputum. So it can be present in the mucosal surface. That's why we go for nasopharyngeal swab. or nasal aspirate or from the deep bronchial wash. It is an invasive procedure. Okay. So these are all some of the kits which are available when we put this nasopharyngeal swab into a viral transport media and put in this kit. It will show with two bands. This is called as a rapid diagnostic test for influenza. Everybody understood this slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. So we have some immunofluorescence technique. Can you see green color things here, my dear students? These are all the infected cells. Okay, virus infected cells from the nasopharyngeal swab or aspirate. But okay, I will ask you one question. If a patient comes to you with influenza, which test you will perform? Why there is silence? Which test you will perform as a doctor to diagnose correctly the influenza virus?
Throat swab.
Okay, throat swab. What test you will do from throat swab? What test you will
PCR.
do? Fantastic. Who is this?
PCR.
Ziad? Fantastic, Ziad. You are absolutely correct, and I think you will diagnose more patients like this and treat and successfully. Good. So, influenza viruses can be detected accurately by RT-PCR. RT means reverse transcriptase PCR. Reverse transcriptase PCR is the most sensitive and specific test to detect all this respiratory virus. So in exam, don't jump and write PCR first, but you take this test also because it's a screening test. You see, this test is very costly, but it is very confirmatory. But if you are in airport, for example, around 5,000 people are coming out, you cannot do PCR for everybody because it takes 4 hours. But you try to narrow down people whom you have doubt with this screening test. Now you agree why the screening tests are being used, my dear students? Now you
Yes.
agree? Yes. So PCR is the most specific and sensitive test, but it takes around 4 hours. But these tests are delivered within 15 minutes. That's why first this test, if there is doubt, you go for this. So virus isolation is done only for academic purpose, either on the embryonic egg or kidney tissue cell cultures. Okay, right. So now coming to the serology, ELISA, it can give an indirect evidence whether the patient is being involved or not. Okay. Everybody understood till this, my dear students? Everybody clear? Yes. Now, so I told you, influenza also affects the birds. Why this is important? Because we consume chicken from the poultry. So poultry, if it contains infected chicken, not by eating, please don't have bad thoughts like by eating the chicken you will get influenza, my dear students. It is through their droppings and it is through their surface contact. Can you see this diagram?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So when the chicken are handled by human beings, then it may get into our nose or eyes or mouth. Their contaminated surface, this virus will enter, not by eating. Okay, please don't write in influenza transmission as eating the chicken. Please don't write. So it is through the droplets and the dust which gets dispersed in the respiratory tract and cause respiratory infection. Did you understand? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Fantastic. Coming to the rhinovirus. My dear students, we are running short of time, but this virus is very, very important. It can be asked anywhere in your MCQs or SEQs. Please be with me. If time has ended, please join with me again. Within 5 to 10 minutes, we can finish this session. Okay. So coming to the rhinovirus. Rhinovirus is very, very difficult to avoid because anybody in this crowd who has not got common cold, anybody who has got cold in your life before?
Yeah, of course.
All of us.
Yes, I have got cold. I think Ziad would have got cold. Mohanand would have got cold. Everybody would have got cold. Okay. So, but the cold is because of this virus, rhinovirus. Why rhinovirus is very common? Because there are 100 different types of serotypes of rhinovirus known now. So we cannot get avoid from this virus. It is highly contagious. If one family member gets cold, immediately it will go to the other family member. Is it not? Is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, your father will get cold. Soon after, your mother will get cold and you will get cold because this virus is highly contagious. It belongs to a family called Picorna. Can you see RNA here? Can you see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, this is RNA virus and Pico. What do you mean by Pico?
Small size.
Yes, that's why it is called
Like shrimp.
smallest. Don't think it is the smallest. Even below this, there are certain viruses which are smallest. But the word Pico means small RNA. So small RNA virus is rhinovirus. Okay. So the Picorna family means it contains a lot of viruses. And among this RNA virus is rhinovirus. Okay. Right. So these viruses cause common cold. Anybody admitted in hospital because of common cold? Anybody? Are you admitted anywhere because of common cold?
Yeah.
Oh, you have admitted, but there is no need for admission for common cold. You treat the patient in the outpatient area and the patient goes back to home. He gets completely cured after 3 or 4 days. Okay, so these viruses will not harm that much, but it is highly contagious. Okay, so 100 different types of serotypes are there. So it is very difficult to produce vaccine against this rhinovirus. Okay, right. My dear students, I will stop here. Stop sharing the slide. Please rejoin with me. I will finish within 10 minutes. Okay, thank you for your time. I think most of you would have put your name and ID number in the chat box. I think I will end the session now. Please rejoin me again. Okay.